Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Wow, we're already early, and guess what? The sound is good already. I should do the podcast from my phone. The sound comes through quickly, and now we're 2 minutes early. So either way, we're going to talk Saturday fantasy baseball today. Yesterday, we had some trouble, so we're looking good today. We don't have any trouble. Eddie Heckman is ready for the snow. It's funny, the maps, they show all this snowfall, but they show zero snow on Long Island. So we managed to escape the snow shoveling for today. We don't really have to shovel snow. They come around to our condo and they shovel the pathways, but one of the ladies that lives 2 doors down, her husband passed away, so I always shovel off her car when it snows, and that's why I do not look forward to the snow, but when I'm out there shoveling my own car, I shovel hers. She's very grateful, and so that's what we do. We help out the neighbors. Sound is good, and everybody, we're happy. Let me say hello to you in the chat room. We welcome you aboard. George, wonderful to see you. Georgie boy, with a cell phone now. Watch out. I think he got a refurbished phone number. So Chris Gallo is here. Eddie Heckman is here. Lenny, of course, my biggest supporter. Malpal and Tina are here. I saw Danny here earlier. I'm thinking Boston Paul will show up. Who knows? But let's go ahead and get started. So the Yankees yesterday go ahead and grab Bubba Thompson. You look at his numbers and you say, good grief, this guy doesn't even have an ADP. So I'm not trying to tell you he's something great. But I will say this. In 2022, in 516 at-bats, he stole 67 bases. That's right, 67 in 2022.
You have to check your sound.
The sound is fine. Is the sound not good?
I don't know, it says, Malpal says no sound. Danny Fuller says not here.
Well, what about you? Do you have sound?
Okay, now I do, Malpal. Do I have sound? I haven't.
Everybody has sound. Everybody. So if you're not getting it, refresh your screen. You'll have sound.
All right, go ahead.
All right.
Ed Heckman says it's good, okay?
He's been saying it's good.
Chris Gallo says sound is great.
All right.
Go ahead.
So Bubba Thompson is who I was talking about. In 2022, he stole 67 bases in 516 at-bats. He stole 31 bases in 319 at-bats last year. He played 10 times in center field and 50 times in center field. Did I say 10 times in left field, 50 in center field? You look at his numbers and it's pretty bad. He batted 170 when he did come up to the majors last year in 60 plate appearances, 37 games. It seems like he just doesn't hit well in the majors. So this guy is 25 years old. He'll be 26 years old this year. Obviously, the stolen bases are not going anywhere, but we talk about this all the time with guys who steal so many bases. You got to get on base to steal bases, and he does not do a great job of that. However, he is with the Yankees now.
So is Harrison Bader.
Okay, so is Harrison Bader. All right, let me just pull myself together. Please don't interrupt me. I'm just reading my notes. I'm trying to talk to the chat room. I'm doing the podcast on a Saturday morning. I understand that Harrison Bader is there, and I'm not saying that Bubba Thompson is worth drafting. I already said that he doesn't even have an ADP. He's just worth mentioning because he does have speed if he ever gets to use it, which as of right now is not looking great. All right, moving on to another ridiculous story about Wander Franco. I mean, this guy, first of all, the mother of this girl is just as much. They accuse Wander Franco of sending this girl's mother monthly payments of $1,700 for 7 months and bought her a car in a trade to allow the relationship between him and her daughter. She's 14 years old. The daughter gets pissed off at the mom and decides that she wants to go and publish what's going on. She says she's sick of her mother because Franco is paying her mother all this money and she's not sharing it with her. So, of course, I mean, any reasonable person would know that this was eventually going to come out. We don't know for sure if there's other things involved, like did the girl get pregnant? I don't know why he's sending her all this money. I mean, it's crazy. This mother, she moved out of her old apartment into a nice new home, and he basically paid for it. The mother is a disgusting person. This whole thing is just sickening. They say that they began the investigation after they received a tip in July. Someone saw the media post, and I already told you how that happened. The daughter got pissed off at the mom for not sharing any of the money. Anyway, the newest on that is that, first of all, don't ever think this guy's going to play in MLB again. A judge ruled that Wander Franco must post bail for 2 million pesos, which is only about $35,000, and present himself to court once a month for 6 months as part of the process against him. The mother also is ordered to remain on house arrest and can't leave the Dominican. So that's that. I mean, the media has been oddly quiet about this. I mean, clearly, there's a huge difference between the way they're reporting this and the way that they reported the Bauer allegations. And you know how I feel about that. It's just despicable. The media, they only tell you what they want you to know, and they put it to you in a narrative that they want you to believe. And the sad thing is, most people actually go for it. They're like, oh, well, I read that Bauer was guilty. Oh, okay, well, if you read he was guilty, then he must be guilty. And anyway, I'm not going to talk a lot about Bauer today. We have other things to discuss. But he did go on Fox News. He talked about this stuff. He went on the WFAN yesterday. That's the New York AM radio here. And so he's finally speaking up, but you'll see people like, oh, he has never kept his mouth shut. He's been talking the past couple years. No, he hasn't. He hasn't been talking to anybody about it. And that's the sad thing, because as these court cases play out, he's not allowed to talk about it. So the media gets to define whatever they want you to believe. So I doubt he'll be back in MLB this year. That's unfortunate in my opinion, but that's the way it is. Mariners traded left-handed pitcher Robbie Ray to the Giants for Mitch Haniger again and Anthony DeSclafani. On the surface, I mean, you say to yourself, like, what the hell? This trade doesn't really do much for either team, although the Mariners were able to dump $73 million over the next 3 seasons by getting rid of Robbie Ray, who is still working his way back from Tommy John surgery. He's not expected to return until after the All-Star break, and he does have an option to opt out after this season. So, Robbie Ray, clearly not really somebody to target in drafts, although he might do you a heck of a lot of good after the All-Star break. We just don't know. Haniger and DeSclafani, these guys seem to always be injured too. Haniger has played a full season just one time since 2018 and appeared in only 61 games with the Giants in 2023 because he had multiple injuries, including oblique, forearm, and back injuries. That was the first of a 2-year, $28 million agreement with San Francisco, and the deal also carries a $15.5 million player option for next season. We do believe that Haniger will be healthy heading into spring training. Will he make it out of spring training healthy? Who in the world knows that, okay? Here's the thing. Mitch Haniger, ADP 462. Which means he's not even being drafted in leagues, and partially because his batting average last year was .209, he hit 6 home runs and stole 1 base. He plays left field and right field, mostly left field, but he can play both corners. You have now down in so Haniger is back with the Mariners, right? Did Haniger go back to the Mariners? Yes, he went back to the Mariners. Did he? Yes. So why do I have the outfield for San Francisco here? I'm looking at the outfield for San Francisco, and it doesn't really matter because Haniger is a Mariner now, so I got that confused, and I apologize for that. So I don't have the depth chart in front of me for the Mariners. But I assume that Haniger will get a chance to play. You know, he used to be a Mariner before he got traded to before he signed with San Francisco. They obviously like him. Moving on to DeSclafani, ADP 584. He had a horrible season last year, a 4.88 ERA with a 1.25 WHIP. Doesn't walk a ton of batters, struck out 79 guys. Like I said, his ADP 584, that must make somebody out there a little bit interested in Anthony DeSclafani. I'm not going to say it helps him to move to Seattle because San Francisco is probably one of the best pitchers parks in baseball, but both of these parks are pitchers parks, and both of these parks are good for pitchers in fantasy baseball. And it would be one thing if DeSclafani had a FIP that was way lower than his ERA, but that is not the case. He was limited to 99 and 2/3 innings, okay? He had a flexor strain after throwing just 19 innings in 2022 because of an ankle injury. He didn't get surgery then, and the hope is that he's going to be ready for opening day. He's 33 years old. He's going to make $12 million this coming season, and this is his final year under contract, so chances are good that he'll pitch better than he did last year if he wants to continue to have a career in baseball. Like I said, he's 33, which isn't, I mean, it is what it is. You got Luis Castillo now, George Kirby, Logan Gilbert, Bryce Miller, Brian Wu, Anthony DeSclafani, and Emerson Hancock, who's out also with injury. The Mariners also made another They acquired Luke Raley from the Rays for Jose Caballero. Now, Luke Raley broke out during his first full season in the majors last season. He hit .249 with a .333 on base percentage, 19 homers and 49 RBI, 406 plate appearances. Now he's in Seattle. Don't expect him to break the 20 mark on the home runs. It's not as easy to hit homers there. But he's going to join Julio Rodriguez and Mitch Haniger in the Mariners outfield. Raley, though, is also capable of covering first base. Obviously, he's able to designated hitter. Okay? Dylan Moore and Sam Haggerty are the most likely options to platoon for Raley against left-handed pitching, but I don't really know where this came from. He doesn't hit lefties bad. I looked at his splits. There is no real there's just really no obvious splits here between how he hits lefties and righties. So take that for what it is. They talk about him platooning. That's a big deal for fantasy. You don't want a platoon player. You have to have a guy who gets at bats every day, especially in just 12-team leagues, you know? There's just too many players available to draft a guy who's stuck in a platoon. Why would they platoon him against lefties? It doesn't seem to me that he had a problem hitting them. All right, and he stole 14 bases and hit 19 homers last year. This is somebody to look at absolutely this spring. His ADP is 372. Let me check out the chat room here. Malpal says Mitch Haniger makes Byron Buxton look like Cal Ripken. Good grief. Does Seattle now get Snell? That's an interesting question by my best friend and my best supporter, Lenny Melnick. He says, will Seattle now get Snell? Well, there's a good chance that they do, right?
I'm at San Francisco.
No, it's Seattle that dumped all the payroll, getting rid of Robbie Ray. It's Seattle that took the load off of their payroll. Robbie Ray just went to the Giants, and now the Giants are stuck with the money. So I do think there's a good chance that Seattle steps up and goes ahead and signs Blake Snell. Although the rumors are having it, Snell is one of the top players that both the Yankees and the Mets are looking at right now. You want a guy in your rotation that walks more batters than, what is it? He walked more batters. I can't remember. Either way, there's some odd things going on with Blake Snell and his numbers, clearly. We don't know what he's going to do next year. Good morning to Boston Paul. Good morning to Tommy Johnson. Good morning to Triple Play. Very nice to see all of you. Good morning to Laura and Mary. Good morning to Methical. Turd. Good morning to Turd. Who else is here, Leonard? I can't see the guests. Tommy Johnson, the most positive guy on Facebook, says he can't believe we are almost nearing pitchers and catchers reporting for spring training, and it's so true. That's absolutely. SM King Turd says he's in on Haniger now for sure at what his price will be. I'm pretty sure Haniger's price is going to go up. Do I have his ADP at the moment? ADP 462. I think it's going to go up. But if you're drafting now, what the hell? But the guy is absolutely an injury waiting to happen. And when he's healthy, what's the max that he could do? Who was the hitter last year that I was like, why am I so enticed with this guy? And the max he's going to do is like 22 homers. He was a Brewers hitter. Who was that, Malpal? All of a sudden, like the middle of draft season, I'm like, what the hell am I doing drafting this guy? I mean, what's his ceiling? Honestly, what do I think I'm going to get out of this guy? What's his name, Malpal? You remember, it's a Brewer hitter. I couldn't believe it. And then, to be fair, he never even really played that much last year. Okay, moving on. Turd says that San Francisco Giants are really bad. He's not sure what the hell they're doing. Triple Play says sources indicated the San Francisco general manager is a genius. Haniger is listed as the starting left fielder in Seattle. Wonderful. Okay. Turd says, I hope they're bad enough to need to have to deal. He says he hopes the Giants are bad enough that they have to deal Logan Webb. I doubt it. Now, the San Francisco general manager gets an undue amount of credit, according to King Turd, and Triple Play responded. He says that the GM spent all of his money on Ray and Lee. All right, moving on from that. Luke Raley could be sneaky 2020 guy, absolutely. Turd likes him too. The Mariners doing an excellent overhaul, according to Turd. Haniger, 250 to 300 ADP is excellent. He hit 38 homers one year, and he was elite. He's shown that he can do it, and he absolutely is a flyer. And yes, it was Jesse Winker. You're right, Boston Paul. Thank you. So this is what we're dealing with here. I'm not saying Haniger is like Winker, but you got to ask yourself, like, at what point would you think that, because the ADP is clearly going to fall on Haniger. He is listed as the starting left fielder for the Mariners, according to Malpal, which I believe him. His ADP is going to, by the next Saturday baseball, his ADP will have dropped at least 100. At least. Alrighty, now, as far as Luke Raley, we talked about him already, right? Luke Raley, ADP 372. Let's talk about Jose Caballero. That is the guy that went to the Rays, right? He's a second baseman. He's going to be 28 this year. His ADP is 590. He doesn't have a starting spot, so I don't expect his ADP to go up. Brandon Lau plays second base. You have Isaac Paredes at third and Junior Caminero at shortstop. Now, I think the most likely place for Jose Caballero to end up is, of course, shortstop. We don't know that Caminero is ready. And when a team goes out and acquires another second shortstop, by the way, Caballero can play shortstop, third, and second. But with Caminero, Junior Caminero is listed as the starting shortstop for Tampa Bay. It makes you wonder if this guy's ready for the big leagues at this point. The St. Louis Cardinals grabbed a valuable bullpen help by acquiring all-star relief pitcher Andrew Kittredge from the Rays for outfielder Richie Palacios. So, Kittredge returned from Tommy John surgery in August. Okay, he missed most of the season. He held opponents to a .683 OPS in 14 outings. He recorded one save in his first appearance back for the Rays, but that was the only one he recorded between August and September. He did finish with a 3.09 ERA, a 1.20 whip, and 10 strikeouts, only 2 walks over 11 and 2/3 innings. If Kittredge can overcome his health issues, he will be a late inning role for Tampa, and he will likely get an occasional chance to save. 597 ADP. This guy is not a closer. He is a high leverage late reliever, and with the occasional opportunity to get saves. I mean, this is like Lenny's favorite guy to draft for $1, right? Or really late. He likes to take chances on these next in line closers, right? So Caminero will get a shot, but yes, he's ready. We don't know if he's ready. Why would they go out and get this other guy, Caballero, if they were 100% sure that this guy is ready? I just don't see it. I know the name is popular, Junior Caminero. Everybody likes him because he's a prospect. I don't know. I didn't really look up his numbers. Turd, let's see. Let me see what else we got here. Hello, Dad's a Premier. Welcome aboard. Great to see you. So, Palacios, what did he do? He had an .823 OPS and 102 plate appearances after August 18th promotion. He joined the Pirates in 2023. That was his third team in 3 seasons, okay? He only had 264 plate appearances, playing both the corner outfield positions. There are some positives about this guy. He dropped his strikeout rate to 21.6%. He's got a 10.3% barrel rate and a 109.6 max exit velocity. So, can he hit the ball hard? Yes. Does he hit for barrel? Yes, he does. He's going to have to figure out how to get the ball in the air, right? He's got a launch angle of 7.4 degrees. That is well below what we like to see, which is like about 12%, 12.5%, I think, is the appropriate launch angle to hit the ball out of the park. Somebody else we were talking about just the other day, it's Yandy Diaz. He hits the ball so hard, but he can't get the freaking thing off the ground. His launch angle is like 5-something. Okay, I think it's like 5.7% launch angle. If Yandy Diaz could get the ball off the ground, he would be a monster home run hitter, but he's not. Palacios has the same problem. So, he needs to get that ball up. You know what? We talk about this, fixing your launch angle. It's not that easy. You don't just fix somebody's launch angle. I know a lot of people working on it. They still can't do it. It's not that easy. It sounds easy. It's way harder than trying to hit the ball to the opposite side of the field. My dad used to teach me how to hit the ball to the opposite side of the field. He said just point your feet in the directions you want to hit the ball, and it worked. I doubt they could do that in Major League Baseball, but it worked in Little League. All right. J.R. Matz, good morning to the Mod Singers. Wonderful to see you. Moose, Mikey, Danny, J.R. Matz, I hope you guys are all having a wonderful vacation. I guess school starts this coming in a couple days, right? You're back to school? Okay. Malpal says, problem with projecting Haniger is that guys who are constantly injured in their 30s rarely stay healthy for a year. That's probably true. Now, Palacios, 7.4 degree launch angle, 32.6% fly ball rate. That means that he ends up with a 174 ISO and a 413 slugging. If he falls into an everyday job, right? That's a possibility. If the Pirates don't add to their outfield again this offseason, we should take a minute to watch his progress. Just to see in spring training. It's time to start your list. You have a watch list. You put players on there that you want to watch in the spring because you're not sure if they're healthy, if they're whatever it is. Get your list ready. Put this guy's name on it, Palacios. He's worth a shot to look at. Tim McLeod is here. This is wonderful. Good morning to our friend north of the border, Tim McLeod, one of my oldest friends in fantasy baseball. And Tim, obviously good friends with Lenny. Great to see you, dude. Thanks for joining us today. Veteran outfielder Brett Phillips. You remember this guy? His name never goes away. What is he doing? He's only 30. It feels like he's been around for so long. He signed a minor league contract with the White Sox. They're going to pay him $1.2 million if he makes the big leagues. Last year, look, 175 batting average, 3 home runs and 3 stolen bases, 71 plate appearances with the Angels, 268 on base, obscene 51% strikeout rate. He will start at AAA, although this team has a serious lack of outfield depth if they're trying not to rely on Oscar Colas, who I read, somebody said on X that they've given up on Oscar Colas, and I said, why would they give up on this guy? He's still just a kid. Well, apparently, according to this person, I haven't read into this, they said that Oscar Colas did not work very hard, okay? He did not have a good work ethic. So, but they still haven't given up on him. He's slotted in as their number one right fielder for now. Although they also have Gavin Sheets, who can play left, right, and DH. Let's talk about Cody Bellinger. When is Cody Bellinger going to be a Cubby again? That's my question. I would love for Bellinger to go back to the Cubbies. I don't know what they're doing, but I did read an article, and I pulled out some key points from the article at The Athletic today. There was a post yesterday on X that I thought was interesting enough to share. Bellinger is all of these things. He's one of 4 in the last decade to win MVP and been in the top 10 twice more. Only Trout, Mookie Betts, Jose Altuve, and Bellinger. Also, he's one of 3 players in the outfield to hit 300 with 55 extra base hits last year. Only 2 others did it, Ronald Acuna and Betts. He's one of 3 players with an 80% contact rate and a .525 slugging percentage. He's one of 5 with an 800 OPS and a positive outs above average on defense. One of 6 players with a 300 batting average and a 500 slugging. Your boy Corey Seager is in there, turd. One of 2 players historically with great offense at both center field and first base, defined as an 800 OPS and 300 games at each position. Only one other, Stan Musial. Now, the Cubs president of baseball operations, Jed Hoyer, is more measured than his predecessor, Theo Epstein. A multi-year rebuild has given the Cubs several core players, some more internal options, and the prospects to seriously explore trades. Scott Boras comes into play here. He is a factor because he has no problem waiting until January, February, or even March to sign his guys. If you remember, Jake Arrieta, he was the last Cubs pitcher to win a playoff game. He didn't sign his 3-year, $75 million contract with the Phillies until March. So Boras represents a group of players that includes Matt Chapman, Rhys Hoskins, JD Martinez, and Bellinger. So it makes you wonder, what is going on? I've seen all kinds of rumors about the Angels are interested, and I'm sure there's many teams interested in Bellinger, but there is no place for Bellinger, in my opinion, than the Cubbies. He deserves to be a Cubby. Bringing back Bellinger would be a first step toward getting back on the playoff bubble as the Cubs, they could use another hitter to build out a lineup for October. So they also need starting pitcher and 2 good relievers. Because you remember Marcus Stroman opted out of his contract and the bullpen faltered at the end of last season. So what we're hearing now is that Chicago Cubs are not a likely landing spot for Shoto Imanaga. And that's coming from Ken Rosenthal. I also saw Jim Bowden saying this on X. Also, Boras, okay, his clients as far as pitchers are concerned, Jordan Montgomery, Blake Snell, also has Pete Alonso, Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve, Corbin Burns. All of these guys are going to be free agents after 2024. But, of course, right now, Jordan Montgomery and Blake Snell, 2 of Boras' clients. He also represents Dylan Cease and Zach Gallen, who will be free agents after this season. Bellinger. What do you think about the Cubbies and Bellinger? I'm just waiting. You know, there's a girl, Sarah Sanchez, I believe her name is, on X. She's a huge Cubby fan. It's just sad the Cub fans are giving up hope because they've done nothing except for steal the Brewers manager. They stole the Brewers manager and they haven't done a damn thing since then. And Cubbies fans are getting a little bit ticked off here. I mean, it's not like they expect to win the World Series every year, but this is a team that can compete, and they do have some good youngsters. I saw they were ranked 2nd in farm systems, but they don't have any pitchers in the top 10 farms for pitching. That means that the Cubbies have a slew of youngsters that hit, and Bellinger is the perfect leader of the clubhouse. Okay? That's how I feel. Malpal says whenever John Heyman floats a story about a Boras client rumor, he's being simply used to create a sense of a bigger market. I totally agree. These media vultures are nothing more than they work for the agents. I mean, I'm kind of joking there. I don't really mean that. They don't work for the agents. But they really are. You got to wonder sometimes with what these media guys say and how it all works out in the end, because it does seem that they go out to promote players and create a bigger market and get them more money. Why wouldn't they do that? Let's talk about Severino. I'm almost done for the day. I have one more story here. I wanted to talk about Luis Severino because, first of all, his ADP is where we start, 336. 336 ADP. Oh, Turd says Bellinger has that same feel that Correa does on a 10-year deal. Not sure he wants to sign up for that. Yeah, is Bellinger going to get 10 years? I mean, it's crazy, the market now. It's hard to predict what these guys are going to get. For Severino, let's talk about what he did. Last year, 4-8, 6.65 ERA, a 1.65 WHIP. Talk about being horrible. Let's talk about it. He had an injured oblique. He is expected to come back healthy in February. There's a huge problem here that the Athletic went into about him tipping his pitches. But in 2022, 89 and a third innings, okay? He only pitched 89 and a third innings because he lost 2 months with a lat injury. And then he got another lat injury in the spring. And for the second time in a year, what was expected to be a quick recovery lingered. He is an injury risk. There's no doubt about it, okay? He didn't make his debut last year until May. He pitched well to begin, but then things started to fall apart. Also, he damn near lost his spot in the rotation. The only reason he kept it was because the Yankees had so many injuries that they had nobody else to pitch. His season ended in September, early September. He got a high-grade oblique strain. He finished, I already told you, but his 6.65 ERA was backed up by a 4.83 xFIP and a 4.78 SIERA. These estimators show that even the 6.65 was not unlucky. It was problems. His changeup was not effective as normal, even though his velocity did not change. That's one good key point of this. His velocity is still up there. The Mets now have him on a 1-year, $13 million deal, right? Now he has an opportunity to play for a contract again, pitch for a contract. He's got a better ballpark with the Mets. And as I said before, his ADP is 336. Now let's talk about his tipping of pitches. This comes from The Athletic. I took some stuff out of the article to talk to you guys about. Severino is only 29. He's going to be 30 next month, right? You remember he was excellent. Now, another thing to remember, Severino went and worked with Pedro Martinez one offseason. I remember this highly because Pedro worked with him, and the very next season was his excellence. He had a 3.18 ERA in 2022 in 102 innings. But even before that, he made the All-Star teams in 2018 and 2019. Now, I'm pretty sure Pedro worked with him before the 2018 season. I wish Pedro would go back and help him out again. But his problem, it seems to be that he's easy to tell what he's going to throw. Let's see here. We told you what he did last year. His strikeout rate plummeted well below his career norm. He experienced an unusually high home run rate. Okay, the Mets are betting on a regression to the mean here. Can Severino stay healthy? That's one question. All right, the other one is, can he figure out how to get better deception, right? Because his issue with tipping pitches stretches to at least 2018 when Aaron Boone, the Yankees manager, came out and acknowledged that he believed Severino was tipping his pitches at points in the second half of 2018. But the problem really did catch up to him in a significant way last season. Clearly, he did not choose to fix this problem. There were evaluators monitoring Severino closely. They said that a tipping component made things challenging against some teams, leading him to be overly aggressive in the zone, while not getting away with the mistakes he had in previous seasons. In particular, Severino's lack of deception with the fastball hurt him. All right. Good job in the chat room. We just love it. Tim, thanks so much for showing up today. It's just great to see you.
Chris from Cambridge is here.
Chris from Cambridge, it's about time. What'd you do? Go back to sleep? Okay. Here we go. Back to Severino. I told you that these evaluators were monitoring him last season, and they said, here's the thing. An advanced scout for a competing team confirmed that Severino was tipping his pitches. And if you look at one of his starts from July, you can see the runner on base has a direct look into Severino's glove as he selects his pitch. And there are other ways that we can see this tipping manifest itself in the numbers. Hitters mostly time their swings to fastball, and knowing a fastball is coming will lead to more swings theoretically, since that's the base approach. But no pitcher saw more swings at fastballs with runner on second base than Severino did in June and July. Basically, Severino saw the highest swing rate against his fastball of his career. Now, I don't know if you heard me, but I'd like to just let you know. I'll sum it up. Basically, no pitcher had more people swinging at the fastball than Severino did when runners were on second base, because it was very clear what he was going to throw next. Now, the Yankees had Gleyber Torres, out there at second base, keeping an eye on things from his vantage point in the middle of the infield. And Severino did work to fix the problem in the second half of the season before he ended up on the injured list, and his season ended early September. Now, Severino has, a lot of this has to do with just the fact that he knows it's happening and he clearly doesn't know how to fix it, so it's bothering him. It's called, these pitchers, they start struggling mentally. For a period, he went from using a full windup to a modified stretch, hoping to regain his command and better synchronize his delivery to avoid tipping his pitches. Now, Severino has not spoken to the media at all since he became a Met, but it will certainly be a subject of conversation whenever he is formally introduced as a Met. The media is going to be asking about this. Obviously, tipping is normally thought of as something that happens when a pitcher is preparing to pitch and telegraphs what he's about to throw. But sometimes the pitcher will give away what he's doing while he's throwing, okay? Now, in the Athletic article, they showed video, okay? They showed a fastball and then a slider, 2 consecutive pitches, and for most of the delivery, he's in sync, but in the end, you can see that his right leg comes through harder and higher on the fastball. Can a hitter see this? I don't know. Who knows if they'll be able to see that in a split second, but he's clearly lifting his leg higher when he's throwing a fastball than he does a slider, so you could see that as a batter. Not only is he tipping his pitches to the runner on second, but his own body mechanics are showing what type of pitch he's going to throw next. All right? For most, let's see this. Could a hitter see this? Maybe not, but the kick could be part of a higher effort delivery on the fastball, and maybe the hitter can see some of that effort in more subtle ways that we can't see from these videos. Now, there's evidence from the sport cricket that pre-release information coming from the delivery is more important than post-release information, so this is not far-fetched. Machines are doing the work here now to read these pitchers' movements, to decipher the tells on pitches. Now it's up to Severino to make the appropriate adjustments. And with all these new technology and machinery that we have available, I will not count out Severino. I will absolutely be drafting Severino if I could get my grimy little hands all over him, because Severino has already shown that he can get this done. Now, he is working hard on this delivery problem with his tipping of his pitches and so on. There's no reason why he shouldn't be drafted. His current ADP at 336, this is why I bring him up. I could spend my time talking about a lot of different players. Severino, how many times have we gone into drafts, okay? For those of you, this is not a new theory. Every year it seems like we go into drafts saying Severino could bounce back. Severino, his ADP is always enticing, all right? Lately, at least, the last 4 or 5 years. Take a bet on Severino at 336 ADP. look, I mean, this is like round 30? A lot of drafts don't even have a round 30. So, all right. Yes, Mariano Rivera threw the same pitch 90% of the times. Seems like excuses over a bad location. I don't know who you're talking about. I guess we're talking about A.J. Puck. A.J. Puck starting this year interests J.R. Matz. He says he acquired him with Ashcraft and William Contreras for Campusano, Henry Davis, and Ginkel yesterday. We love Ginkel over here. Okay. Guest Helena, who are you? Tell me who you are. Nice to see you. Is that, I don't see Danny talking a lot here. Where are you, Captain Danny? They just want to stretch Puck out. Oh, that's Boston Paul. Okay, great. We're talking the Mets. Yes, sir. Happy birthday, Marlon Anderson. Whoever that is. Who knows? Okay.
Big L.
Big Al, good morning. Great to see you. I saw you on Twitter this morning, so it's always nice to see you in the chat room. Too bad you're late. You're going to have to listen on replay. All right, so we have 122 ballots revealed for the Hall of Fame, which has become nothing more than a big fat joke. I'm really rooting for Sheffield. Many of you out there think I'm a huge Yankee hater, which I used to be. But this is Gary Sheffield's last time to make the to make it. They already ripped off Schilling over nothing because they don't like his political views. So they basically just... That, in my opinion, is the biggest travesty. And I will tell you, I will never take the Hall of Fame seriously until they start voting people in based on their career stats, period. That's it. Stop acting like the morality police, okay? Acting like you're so much better than these guys that you get to judge what they say, what they do, how they act. I mean, it'd be one thing if Schilling was using PEDs. It'd be one thing if Schilling did something against the law, but simply based on the fact, literally, they didn't vote him in because they said that he spreads conspiracy theories, which, by the way, conspiracy theorists are 47-0 at this point. So, I mean, if Schilling can't get in because they don't like what he says, they don't like that he supports Trump, whatever. It's disgusting, despicable, and they should lose their right to vote over that. Some morality BS. Anyway, I do see that they're starting to lighten up on the PED users. A-Rod and Manny are getting a lot of votes. You got A-Rod, but he's still at only 41%, which is more than he used to be. Manny Ramirez, 38.5%. You got definitely Beltre getting in there, right? 98.4% for Adrian Beltre. Todd Helton, 82%. Joe Mauer could be a first ballot Hall of Famer, 82% right now. You got Sheffield at 75%. 122 ballots revealed, 31.8% known. Yes, Evan Grant voted for a known cheater, Andy Pettit, after refusing to vote for Schilling. And he wrote a whole article on why he didn't want to vote for Schilling. And it's a bunch of nonsense. But anyway, Tommy Johnson, great to see you. Thanks. Have a great day. I hope that your kids win the track meet, J.R. Matson. I'm pretty much done for the day. But Michael Brantley, one more tidbit, announced his retirement after 15 seasons, 5 All-Star appearances, and the 2022 World Series title. Michael Brantley retired. I bet he'll go into coaching, managing, doing something. Right, Leonard?
Yes, sir.
I'm a ma'am, Leonard.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks for joining us, everybody, and I hope you have a wonderful Saturday. Lady and the Legend back tomorrow, 9 a.m. Thanks for coming, Tim. It's great to see you. George, nice to see you. Everybody, have a wonderful day.